Greetings once again, test subjects. You're back in the lab with Justin Blassie.
And no, Primus, what is that stench?
It's nothing, don't worry about it.
It's terrible.
No, it's nothing.
Why? You keep trying to get the Euro rolling move. It's never gonna mix properly.
It's for science. That's why.
Get in there out the lab. Good idea.
There are a lot of great people in our hobby that make everything we do here at 524 Labs worth it. Our next guest really isn't one of them, but he seems cool nonetheless, so self-described idiot who is given idiotic things to do, Matthew Jude, you're now in the lab.
Yes, thrilling. Thank you for the honor and the privilege that this is.
Matthew, welcome to the show. So you're like the star of that board game panel show, This Game Is Broken, right? How's that working out for you and your friends?
It's good. It's good. I enjoy it a lot. I prefer colleagues to friends, but yeah, it's great. I have a lot of fun doing it. It's the niche within a niche that nobody asked for, so we're filling that void.
Fascinating. Another quick question for you, if you don't mind. We're doing our own show here. The one you're on right now, actually, in the lab. What advice could you give us as the mad scientists at 524 Labs for doing our show?
Well, I wouldn't want to answer that really without first looking at what I consider to be the birth of film with the 1986 release of The Three Amigos.
The chamber is going to go critical if we don't like it.
Are you?
Increase the RNG and.
Are you all right?
No, cut the VP vectors in half.
I don't want to
deal with this. Hold on.
Okay, cool. Well, This Game Is Broken. It's a board game panel show. A bunch of idiots giving a bunch of idiotic things to do. Check us out on all forms of social media, but download the podcast, I suppose. Twitter, we're on Twitter. It's got very strange very quickly, didn't it? What the hell is going on?
Mr. Jude, you might want to clear out of here unless you feel like getting dice placement slots growing out of your scapula and interdigital folds.
Yeah. Sorry, can't hear you. Can't hear you. Sorry. Great.
It's now time for us to share our top 3 games of 2018.
Not just our top 3, but the top 3 new to us games.
That's right. We do a lot of work here in the lab, and sometimes we don't get to play as many games as we like to, so sticking to just 2018 releases, it would have been hard to make this list.
Unfortunately, yes. So, new to us in 2018.
Yeah.
Should I start with my number 3?
Let's do it.
All right, so my number 3 is Chronicles of Crime.
Ooh.
Yes, by Lucky Duck Games. It's a whodunit kind of crime solving. If you think of maybe the old point and click kind of adventure crime solving games.
I haven't played this one yet.
It's like The Moon is a Harsh Mistress, something like that. These old games where you're going to these locations and you're investigating and you're trying to find clues and show them to people and figure out as much as you can and as quickly as you can, because
you have to stick the yellow key in the yellow door like in Maniac Mansion?
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen that. Maybe there's a scenario with it. I don't know. But it uses your phone, and all the components have little QR codes on them. And so when you go to a location, you scan that, and the app says, okay, you're here, and you can scan a person at that location and ask them about various things you've seen. When you're at locations that can be investigated, it's got a little 3D view. You can put a little viewfinder on, or you can scroll around with your finger, and you have to actually look around and see what's in the scene to know what kind of pieces of evidence you can actually add to the board. And as you do that, every little action you take adds time onto your day. And once you do finally solve it, you get points based on how quickly you solved it, in addition to how accurately you solved everything.
Very cool. I'll have to give this one a try.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
So, my number 3 was a Martin Wallace release. It's published in the United States by Stronghold Games. I actually got it through Kickstarter, and that is Australia. kind of mixing the route building train game, resource management, and Cthulhu. So not only are you getting the resources to get your trains out there, you're also buying military units and going out into the Australian outback to find the old ones and their minions and trying to destroy them. At some point in the game, the old ones will actually wake up and Cthulhu starts playing and scores points. And so at the end of the game, if you're kind of sort of working against each other, but if Cthulhu's minions aren't taken care of, Cthulhu can actually win the game.
I'm going to piggyback on you because this is actually my number 2. We played together, and I really enjoyed this game. Cthulhu did happen to show up right next to where I had been working, and it was basically me versus Cthulhu.
Yeah, the rest of us were kind of on the east side of Australia, and he was over there by himself on the west.
And just me versus Cthulhu. I managed to take him out, so that was pretty fun.
He did take out several of your farms, but
did.
Yeah.
But, I don't think I ended up winning that game, but it was.
No, you didn't.
It was a lot of fun, though.
Very good. Awesome. So
my number 2 would then also be Australia.
Australia, fantastic.
So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is stepping slightly outside of board games, but we kind of just lump all the stuff together. This is actually a tabletop miniatures skirmish war game, and it is Fallout Wasteland Warfare. This game is about the best you could do of bringing the feeling of some of the Fallout video games and putting it on the tabletop and telling a story and having a really great skirmish game. One of the things that kind of sets it apart from some other skirmish games is instead of really focusing on that tournament play and really tight lists and stuff, I mean, they have a version to do that, but it's really about the narrative of it. There's all these different scenarios. You can build your own scenarios, kind of, and there's also this really great settlement mode where you're between your missions, you're collecting money and caps and weapons that you find out in the Wasteland, bring them back, adding things to your settlement, different shops and repair station, building farms and stuff, so you can take more different varied equipment with you on future missions. It's a really great game. It's probably my favorite miniatures tabletop game at this point. And so we're moving on to
our number 1s.
Your number 1.
So my number 1 for 2018 is, if you've followed me on social media, you probably already know this, Keyforge. I got bit by the Keyforge bug.
You kind of did. Like, you really bought a ton of decks for that.
I did buy a lot of decks. So
and then you did something really crazy too.
I made a cube.
He made a cube. The whole idea of not deck building and
I broke that rule already. But it works really well. It drafts.
I'll take your word for it. I really like the game. It probably would have been my number 4 or 5. But I don't like it enough to maybe jump into a cube right now.
But for those of you who don't know about it, it's a battle card game from Fantasy Flight Games, designed by Richard Garfield. Everybody knows him from his game he made forever ago to King of Tokyo.
Yeah.
I mean Magic the Gathering. That's
that one too.
So it plays a little different than most card games. You're forging these keys with what you earn. It's called Amber or Amber. They did the whole AE symbol there on that because why be simple?
Because it looks cool.
Yeah, it's cool and confusing. But you're building these keys. The first one to build 3 wins. You don't actually have to knock somebody out, and you can't run out of cards, stuff like that. It plays pretty. The games actually go longer than like a Magic game would, but they play quicker. They feel.
Yeah.
You don't have as much downtime.
Yeah. So, there's very few dead turns.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times in some of those other games, like you get this hand and I can't really do much with this, and I drew some bad cards, and there's usually always something you can do because even if your hand is bad, there's still you can choose the house with what's going on the board and use that stuff out there. So.
Yeah. So I really enjoy it. I know there's lots of people out there that do and lots of people that don't, and
they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I think it's a great game. So, but yeah, so that's my number 1.
Fantastic. My number 1 is kind of the reason that we don't have just 2018 releases. I got this in 2018. I added it on to my Australia Kickstarter page.
Okay.
Because this is also from Martin Walsh. This was the last the games that were published through Tree Frog, and it's the 3rd in his Few Acres of Snow Mythotopia trilogy. This is A Handful of Stars. It is a deck building combined with area control game. I know there's quite a few of those out there now, and this is actually probably my favorite that I've played so far. So you've got this map that's randomly generated each time you play, and you're going to get a handful of the planets, a handful of those stars, plus a few other cards for your starting deck. And on your turn, you're going to take a couple actions, whether it's buying technology or building more military units, playing cards. There's a whole list of different ones you can do. You're going to be moving your ships around the board and fighting off aliens that are on those planets or other players who are on those planets. Every planet is basically a card, so if you take it over, that card goes into your deck. At the end of the game, whoever has the most points, which are just generated through your different colonies and outposts around the map, will win it.
I played this one with you as well, and I really liked it. I liked the different things you could do. You could be kind of creative and silly with it, with trying to be sneaky to get around all the various black holes or whatnot. Try to
you get that wormhole technology if it shows up.
And try to sneak through the back door and claim some extra colonies, and then overextend yourself and get wiped out.
Yeah, and each player is then actually going to start as a different alien race, which adds a couple of unique cards to your deck. So you start off different than everybody else, and then with all the different ways that you can choose technology to add your deck, you can become very different. So it's very asymmetrical, and it has this really neat way of doing a timer for the game. It's on a number of, since it's a deck building game, when your deck runs out, you're going to reshuffle, make a new deck. It just counts the number of reshuffles, and then depending on player count, after a certain number of reshuffles, there's like one more round and the game ends. So that was a really interesting way to do
that. I like that.
So that's my number one, A Handful of Stars by Martin Wallace. I have 2 Martin Wallaces on this list.
I think you're becoming a fan now.
I do. I also like Onward to Venus. Well, yeah, that one came out 3-4 years ago. Yeah, so that's 3 of them now.
Well, that was our top 3 from 2018. That was new to us.
New to us.
Hope you enjoyed that, as we enjoyed playing them and finding and discovering these things to put on our list.
What games did you like of 2018?
Yes.
We got a whole comment section down here.
It's down there.
Put it down there.
And
we'll even read it probably.
Probably.
Or
if we don't read it, then
we're jerks.
I guess so.
We're probably in the lab doing some, wacky experiment, so we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Or Rachel will tell us to go respond to it. So, are we done yet?
We have to do the outro.
Cool, you can do that.
Anyway, that's about all we have for today, and we hope that we'll see you
I'm thinking Ameritrash, press your luck, the Rondell. Probably won't fit in a mint tin.
Okay. Anyway, we hope to see you back in the lab again soon. Mel, wait, you're putting too much of that! Oh! Too late. You alright in there?
On your turn, perform the following actions. First, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Then, tap the notification bell icon so you don't miss out on the next episode. The player with the most views at the end of the game wins.